Okay, so today is the first day of where I've just been running a junior session and one adult session. So within the junior session, we decided to work on consistency when both players were back, and I thought the players listened really well, and that they worked really hard. And this was because I've worked with these players before previously, so we'd already built like a good relationship. But yeah, in terms of the quality, it was quite varied. So all of the players were able to get a rally of 20. However, the quality was a little bit varied. So some players were, hitting really good quality shots with good pace and topspin. Whereas some players tightened up, they sort of tensed up a little bit and weren't really finishing over their shoulder. So yeah, and also at one stage, at the start, their intensity was, not up to the level that I was looking for. So I decided to call all of them in, and I explained to them the importance of having better footwork. And yeah, after that, they all decided to work really hard. So yeah, that was the junior session. So in the adult session, I was working with some elite performance players, which was really good to work with and teach as a coach. And yeah, we decided to look at consistency and controlling the space within the same drill. And I thought the session went really well. They listened very well, and I felt like my drills were very engaging. Like everyone seemed to be doing something at once, which was pretty good to see as a coach. However, one thing I would say is at first it was a little bit weird working with these players, as I had taken part in that session before. So at the start they were kind of just like not really messing about, but just like they found it a bit weird. But after a while, they saw that my drills were pretty engaging. They started knuckling down and working really hard. So yeah, that was good. So today was my second week of experience in coaching juniors and adults. And in a junior session, we decided to work on serving and controlling space and time with the serve. Now, within juniors, it was very mixed in terms of who was able to control the direction. And it was often the more consistent players that were able to control the space and direction, as well as slowing it down. Now, there was one player that I was really impressed with. He was very good at, hitting a good, powerful first serve, but he was also really good in terms of slowing it down for a second serve, and I kind of used him as like a role model to the rest of the group for them to look up towards. I also, at the start of the session, really emphasised the importance of having a good serve and why serves are so important in tennis, and explaining this to junior players so they know it from a young age. The only thing I would say with this session that I could have improved for next time is there were 8 players and 4 different courts, so it was kind of hard for me to monitor all courts at once. So maybe next time I would switch it down to have 2 courts, but they're in pairs, so they're in groups, which would make it easier for me to monitor everyone's technique and how they're doing. So yeah. In terms of the adult session, I felt like this was a really good session because unlike last time, they came to the session very focused and up for it, which was really good. As well as that, I felt like there was a really good balance in terms of having engaging drills whilst also targeting specific game situations and areas. as I decided to add points, which made it very engaging as they're quite a competitive bunch of people. So yeah, I felt like this session went really well. So today is week 3 of doing coaching experience with the juniors and adults. Now within the junior session we looked at controlling space with both our ground strokes and our volleys. Now the volleys were definitely not as good as the ground strokes. Some of the ground strokes were very well directed, however sometimes the ball got a little bit too close to them. But with volleys, there was not much control at all, to be honest. Like, sometimes they managed to direct it, but apart from that, it was very rare. There were only a few players that were able to direct it, fairly consistently. But when it came to a match scenario, players' volleys were definitely lacking in direction and consistency, and a lot of players, when they were brought forward towards the net, they wanted to go back to the baseline straight away as they felt more comfortable there. But to be honest, at this stage in their development of players, it's not really too important to have great volleys, as they are still quite small. But when they get older, definitely look to develop their volleys more. For the adults, we decided to look at the return of serve. I explained to them why returning is just as important as serving at the elite level, and that the top players within professional tennis are exceptionally good at returning. So I gave examples like Djokovic, Murray, Rafael Nadal, and this really, catch their engagement as I could relate to them as they're elite players. I also felt the drills were very fun and engaging, especially the one where players were serving from the service line, making it a real challenge for players to return. So it was very engaging for them, like seeing a fast serve come in, they're like, oh, I don't have much time to return it. So yeah, that was really good. Today was my last day of working with the players, gaining my experience, and I decided to wrap, the weeks of working with them with some match play. And with the junior players, I decided to do like a round robin tournament of 10-point tie breaks, which was, really good to see them, showing off their skills in a match, and it was good for me to observe how they play within a match. A lot of the players were quite emotional if they lost, because they are fairly young, but I felt that was an important lesson to teach them in tennis, as well as life, that you work hard to get good and you get rewarded by winning. And I feel like I should have, for next time, gave the winners with a fun reward like a tennis grip or a shock absorber to show them that if they work hard, then they'll be rewarded, which is a good lesson for both tennis and life. So yeah, the adults again decided to do match play to wrap things up. However, this time I decided to do timed tennis, so then everyone could get a chance to play a high bunch of different players. Now, observing the matches was really good, as they showed great signs of competitiveness and really trying hard, and the quality of tennis was also really great to watch. And every now and then I could give them some tactical insight, give them a tip on how to keep doing what they're doing and win the match, or maybe how to turn things around. So yeah, that was really good.